we can start the recording.
Okay.
Everything you will say can be held against you. So
okay.
I hope you got a good lawyer. A good lawyer. No, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michael Gaydos, for being here. It's such a pleasure to have this little chat with you. So welcome. And my first question would be about Jessica Jones,
okay.
Of course. But just before that, because it's the first time that you are here on our podcast, could you briefly introduce yourself? How would you summarize your life as an artist today?
I would say that I grew up wanting to be a comic book artist, and I was fortunate enough to have my dream come true and become one. I've worked with most every comic company that there is, and I've been doing it for nearly 35 years, and I've been very fortunate to make a living, doing what I love.
Yeah, because I read in an interview that it was your dream since maybe you were 5 years old.
Something like that.
But can you explain why you wanted to be a comic book artist?
I just was enamored by comic books. It was everything about them. It was the costumes. It was the art. I was born in 1966 when the Batman television show came out. So I grew up, watching that, and had an affinity for Batman and a lot of the amazing animated shows like Speed Racer and Gotcha Man, which was Battle of the Planets, and what was, I guess, early anime, and then the Justice League. And I had an uncle that was a comic collector, and he gave me some of his comics, and he drew a little as well. And he would draw superheroes for me. And then I found, my friends enjoyed comics as well. And we made our own superheroes and stories, and that's how it began. And at that time, I really loved John Byrne, and I wanted to be the next John Byrne, and I liked Frank Miller as well. And when I went to college, I really wasn't familiar with fine art. And once I was in the presence of fine art and learned about it, it blew my mind, and it totally changed how I wanted to do art. So I didn't really want to do necessarily superhero stuff, and it was also during that time that the fine art and illustration worlds were kind of colliding, and people like Sienkiewicz and Kent Williams and George Pratt and John Muth were doing books, and they were very fine art influenced, and also illustrators like Matt Mahern and Brad Holland were very influential. And I was very happy that I could do something, because I that was a happy medium between the two, and that really sparked me to follow in that direction.
So you would say that your dream changed from wanting to be the next John Byrne to being the next Sienkiewicz, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And was it hard to break into the industry at that time? Was it hard to get your first gig?
No. Actually, I was fortunate enough to know people. So somebody.
How do you know people?
There was a friend that I had in college who was actually friends with the Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he eventually got a job working for them, and moved to Northampton. My final project in college was I made a comic book, a fully painted, I don't know, it was maybe 22-page comic book. And I had then taken that with me, and I was able to show it to Kevin Eastman, who at that time was starting Tundra. And he loved it. So he said, yeah, we would love to publish this. And so my first book ever published was, I believe it may have been the first book Tundra came out with, and it was called Scorched Earth. And then that's how it began. So it wasn't, terribly hard because I had some friends. It wasn't until that after Tundra ended, I kind of, had to jump around and, find different jobs. I did actually some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books, and I ended up then with working with Caliber, which a lot of comic artists and writers kind of started with. And worked my way up.
All the Marvel Knights artists were...
Yes, right. Mm-hmm, yeah. So that's, kind of worked my way up then that way. Coincidentally, I Brian Bendis went to the same school the same college I went to, but he wasn't in the same year.
Yeah, okay. No.
Yeah. And so to be honest, I don't think we ever spoke in college. And it wasn't until like the Caliber days that he and I, started talking, and we did a few short stories together, and then he offered me the job to work on Alias.
Yeah, so we naturally go to from your beginnings to Jessica Jones, but yeah, can you believe it's like 24 years?
It's a long time. Mm-hmm. No, it's hard to believe.
Yeah. So my first question is, what do you recall about the process of co-creating the Jessica Jones character?
About creating? Well, actually, the character at the time was based on my my wife. Yeah, who's my ex-wife now. But so it was kind of based on that, and I did that for the reason because Jessica, I believe, needed to have to be very expressive. I think that was the only way that the character was going to work, and that really, people would, find her compelling, that way. And the fact that, I had been with this person, for such a long time, I knew all the little quirks. I knew the looks. I knew, everything that, would be useful for me as an artist to help convey all that.
So you just had to draw her face from memories or from living with her?
No, I did photographs and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. But it worked wonderfully that way. That I think people were able to see something in Jessica that they would feel themselves, or seeing another one of their friends, or that type of pissed off, or angsty, or that type of drunken person.
And since it's been 2 decades ago, how do you feel about Jessica Jones today? Can you believe that she has gone from just a simple comic character to a star of a TV show?
I still can't believe that.
She got books also. She got comics from other creators also.
I know, it's crazy, because actually Brian and I Alias didn't do very well when it came out, and it wasn't until many years after that it kind of caught on. So we had done the book, and we thought, oh, okay, we put it out there. We were very proud of what we did. 28 issues is a lot of issues.
And there's the Pulse also.
Excuse me?
And there's the Pulse
yes.
afterwards also.
Yeah, so. And so when people started coming around to it, and people were talking about it, both Brian and I were just very surprised. and I mean, it was very exciting. And then once the whole show came about, I mean, what
it was on another level.
Yeah, it was. It was this nothing that either of us would ever expected. So,
and I guess so that you were excited to see a character living on the screen.
Yeah.
But did you feel that you had also the recognition as a creator? Did they? Did you feel that the large audience know that there was an artist behind also this?
I think
character?
so. Yeah. I mean, we did good credit on the show, and I think they actually used Alias, actually the book, for a lot of the ideas and stuff for the show. So I could watch, the first 2 episodes, and I can see the hallway going down to her office, right out of my pages, and even the little things like the Egon Schiele print that she has in her bedroom. They, put also in her bedroom in the book. So it's those little things, definitely saw.
So you were like a co-director of some episodes.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, man. Yeah, because it was the basis. They didn't follow it, page by page, but they definitely, used a lot of things to have the flavor of the book.
And was there any at some point maybe a time at which you didn't want to be maybe associated with only Jessica Jones, because you did many other books and you went on different created own books, and I was maybe when I was just preparing this interview, I was wondering myself if I had to speak about Jessica Jones with you.
I don't mind at all.
If that would piss you off because you don't want to just be.
Oh no. I'm very happy to. I'm very, very proud of the work that I did. I mean, looking back at the kid growing up, drawing comics and loving comics, I would have never imagined my adult self, being recognized as a co-creator of this character that's beloved by so many people. There's
another title I want to speak about with you. It's Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
Pearl. So can you also tell me about the origin story of that project? It was at Jinx World, but when Brian went to DC, so it was one of the first projects done with Brian at DC Comics.
Right. Yeah. So Brian said he was going to do this thing. He wanted co-creating, projects, and he asked me, if I had thought of any ideas, to pass them along to him. So, I was thinking of things, that I would like to draw. And, I really like the Japanese culture, and I really like, tattoo art and, things like that. So I was trying to put together things that I would like. And so I was thinking, well, maybe we have this this Japanese girl who's albino, and she's a tattoo artist, but she has done these tattoos. She has a skin condition where she does tattoos on herself without ink. And when she's angry or emotional, these tattoos fill up with blood and they become visible. And that was actually an idea that I came up with. My oldest son, he was born and he had several birthmarks, and we did not notice them only until he became like angry or excited, when they filled up with blood, and then you could see them. And then when he was back to normal, they went away. So I thought this was, a very interesting idea. And then I mentioned the Yakuza. And Brian wrote back to me and he said, you had me at Yakuza. So, and then he went and created the whole world with that. And
but if I recall, it seemed to me that for the tattoos that were drawn on some characters, you had an actual tattoo artist.
I had an actual tattoo artist design the tattoos. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So how? Because but you were telling him what to do, or
no. I told him kind of, yes, I told him kind of what I wanted. And yeah, he went ahead and he like created something as if, you know, I would get the tattoo on myself, you know, say, you know, this is this type of woman, and she is part of the, I think it was like the Crane clan or something like that, and it has to have to do with like a house symbol with a crane, and then like she would have tattoos, you know, connected to that, and going down her arms and on her back and things like that.
And you were also using a photographic reference for Pearl. Actually, she's like a real woman. Also, you were using photographs.
I had a model that I found that I used as Pearl. So,
but it's something you always do for any comics.
Because
you mentioned your ex-wife.
Right? Yeah, before, it is because I think it's for me expression and you know. The acting part of, you know, the process of the book and stuff is very important to me. I mean, we're pretty much creating a movie on paper. So, I mean, it's very important for me to, you know, have somebody look like they're what they're saying, you know, and I mean, that way, I mean, I may not use the reference exactly, but you know, I use that as a basis to change, and I may change things, and especially, you know, for gesture, you know, it's very important.
Okay, so was it because there was some changes in the editorial land between the first 2 volumes of Pearl and the third one that was announced? Was it hard to juggle with different publishers for this series? No, it was pretty easy. I mean, I don't think the problem, you know, with the changes was, you know, anything to do with editorial. I think we had, you know, the same story in mind. It was just done in 2 different places. I was more thinking like issues in terms of scheduling, because you couldn't do at some point the next book because the rights were still at one publisher or not. But
no. It went pretty smoothly. Yeah, it went pretty smoothly because Dark Horse actually republished the first two trades, and to be honest, I like the paper they used better.
Well, it's good because actually Dark Horse also can do a very low quality comic book. So
I think it showed off the art better, the colors, and you know, it was I think truer to what I did because of the paper choice.
Yeah, but speaking about the colors, because I've seen your original art from Pearl right now, and when we see the finished page, it changes a lot at some point. I don't know if you have some digital tools to work with. How much is a traditional versus digital?
Well, as you saw some of the Pearl pages, so the traditional work was all just done the pen and ink, and was scanned in, and then I just colored it digitally. As Pearl went on, for time reasons, I was able to replicate, you know, in Photoshop, the tools that I used to, you know, make the marks and everything in the black and white to make it look exactly like, you know, I would have done it traditionally. And then, but still, you know, most of it then, you know, towards the end was done in by the computer. You know, I was doing it on a tablet.
Okay, and it's not you're not switching to a full digital. You still like to no, but you just did say to me that you were switching. So now to full digital, you're not doing any more traditional work.
Oh no! For Pearl, I was.
Pearl.
No, the last project I did, the Beneath. That was all digital.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it hard to adjust to that?
To all digital? No, because I was able to. Again, I also do some illustration work for role-playing games and stuff like that, which offers me the opportunity to try different styles. So I decided that I was going to use a style similar to that for Beneath, and the process that I was doing for those was I would do a traditional drawing, scan it in, and again, then discolor it in the computer digitally. So what I did was I took one of those scans of the original drawing, and again, figured out the tools in Photoshop to replicate that. So I can draw it, so it would look exactly like it would traditionally, and then, then color it. So it wasn't, once I was comfortable that it looked exactly alike to me, it was just then a faster process being able to do it on the computer rather than, drawing it traditionally and then having to scan it in and, doing that.
Yeah, but the thing is that when you're doing full digital, you don't have any more original
art. I know. That's because I have files and files and files of original art at home, and my kids are going to be left with it, and I don't think they're not going to know what to do with it.
Well, yeah. they don't know what they have. All right, but with Beneath, so it was with Stephen S. Denai.
Yes.
So how did you guys meet? Put in contact?
It was through Comixology and the editor. So she approached me. And I didn't have a project at that time, and I've never done a horror book. And opportunity to work with Stephen was, it was great. I mean, I knew his name from doing a couple of the episodes of Daredevil, and I think this was kind of his first foray into doing some comic work, and the story was very interesting, and it was very character driven, which I like. And so I was able to do, with it's all about interaction between the characters and expression and all those things that I like. So it was, something that I totally jumped on.
And I think also I saw an interview with maybe AYPT, or you just spoke about the monster design, because it's a book about a monster. So you never had done an horror project before?
No.
So was it hard to find the right design for something to be scary on paper?
Yeah. Well, he gave me very good points. That he wanted in the design of the monster to put me in the direction. And then, I mean, some things were kind of difficult to really portray, or draw. That would it would probably work perfectly for a movie, but it didn't work very well, for me drawing it. I mean, I looked at, I'm not a big horror fan, so, the things.
Shame on you, sir.
The horror movies that I do like are more like, I mean, a lot of the feeling for it was I probably based on like Alien and, Predator and, those type of movies. The character design, has, some type of influence, in that regard. But, I mean, so I'm working on the basis of stuff that I've seen rather than, I was not trying to really go out there and, look at other stuff that, I'm not really familiar with. So.
Okay, is it correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no paper, no physical print yet of Beneath?
It's coming out in July.
Okay, so it's coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out in July through Mad Cave.
Okay. Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Mad Cave. Cool. All right. And so, the thing that you just said before, like you had an opportunity to work with Stephen, makes me wonder, how do you choose your project? In general, is it just because at some point you are free and there's someone that you want to work with, or maybe sometimes you are asking for a special project? How
it's more projects that come to me now than for me asking.
I guess many people want to work with you.
Well, some people do. So, I mean, I kind of got to work with, Marvel, and, I've done the work with the big two. I've been with DC.
You don't want to do that anymore.
I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, no. So, and, I enjoy having not the horrible deadlines. And you know, so I enjoy having a little bit of a life. So this way,
you're too old for deadlines. No.
Yeah. So it that's important. You know, when I start a project now, that I'm able to have a schedule that I can also do other things. You know, I put in the hours already, you know, in past projects. And this way too, it's you know, something that I in most cases now, because everything is now very creator driven, that you know I'm co-creator on a lot of these things. So you know, if it becomes a movie or in any other media, you know, I'm part of that. And so.
Speaking of which, Pearl is going to be a TV series or something like that.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No,
there's not an option because I know that some of Brian's projects have been optioned. And okay, so maybe I'm just mistaken.
Well, yeah. No, I think it hasn't come to fruition. I think he's, you know, things are kind of he's looking around still. So. But there's, you know, always a possibility. It needs to find a good home.
And I guess you would like to see one of your books.
I would love to see Pearl. You know, as a TV show. Pearl was also the look of it was very influenced by like John Wick. And you know that type of thing.
But before John Wick was out,
so I would love, you know, to see something like that. It's also, you know, she's a young girl, so it's not like, so I think that demographic it would appeal to as well. So it would be, you know, young adult, you know, that type of thing.
Okay, and so my last question is also quite broad, but are you afraid of AI?
No, because I do not think anybody would ever type my name in to say, I want to create a piece of art that looks like Michael Gaydos did it. So in that regard, for myself, no, I'm not. In regard to, you know, other things, yes, because I know a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs. I think, you know, a lot of like cover artists and, you know, things like that, and just illustrators in general are going to be losing their jobs. And
so you think that illustration is more in danger than a comic book?
Yeah. Doing sequential art is very difficult. And you have to have, I think, a mindset about how, you know, panels go and interact, and you know, the process of a page and how that page progresses to the end of the book. And I think that's something that, at least right now, I don't think computers can do. And I don't think they could do, you know, the expressive, you know, give the human quality, you know, that at least I try to get the expressiveness and stuff like that into, you know, something. Yeah. Because, I mean, a computer doesn't have experience. A computer doesn't feel. So you know, when I'm doing like a character in a book and stuff like that, I say the dialogue out myself, and like how I would, you know, kind of acting it out myself, and to say how how I would tilt my head, or how I would, you know, like squint, or, you know, that type of thing. And I don't think that's something that a computer, you know, right now can do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, but even if I recall, you know, some scenes of Alias when you've got these long panels, who takes all the page, but there are like 4 or 5 of them because it's just dialogue and dialogue.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
So this kind of pacing, you can't.
Oh yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
With,
mm-hmm.
I guess so.
Yeah. Because the different creative you know, ways. You know, that you can break up a page and stuff like that. I mean, AI is only going to learn that, I guess, by, you know, picking and choosing from what's already out there. But you know, to come up with that, you know, by itself, I think is, you know, not. anything that need to worry about as of yet, but who knows?
Okay. Let's speak about it in 5 years.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
I hope not. I
certainly hope not,
yeah. I really don't think so. I mean, again, I haven't seen any AI art that really competes with artists that are really that I like. Like I've seen I love Aegon Sheila, and people try to create his art through AI, and I mean it doesn't look like his at all. I have yet to seen actually like AI do like a line drawing or like a drawing type thing. It's more something that's like a full, completely done illustration, and nothing that is that expressive in
There's
that
no
way.
work in progress from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's up next for you? What's your next project?
One that I can't talk about.
Spill the beans, Michael.
So there's a project I'm working on now that I can't talk about. And then there's a possible project, probably project that I'm going to be working with Brian again in the future, and it's something completely different. But both projects have a female lead, which seems to be what most of my projects have.
It's a fact. Okay, thank you so much for your time, Michael.
Thank you.